Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about 6 dysfunctional mother-son relationships. 6 toxic mother-son relationships. So this video is not to demonize mothers. It's not to talk bad about mothers. It's not to make you hate your mother. I'm not telling you in this video that your mother do not love you. This video is just to create awareness around family dynamics and the relationship that you could have with your mother, right? So the first mother-son toxic relationship could be you're a mama's boy. If you're a mama's boy, you run errands for your mother. You take her to the doctor. You take her to different appointments. You eat with her. You pick up groceries for her. She asks you for help for almost everything. You guys are in contact every day, by phone or face-to-face. You usually always choose your mother over your spouse. When you're a mama's boy, you never try to move away from your mother. You still live with your mother. And yes, there are some situations where we still might live at home, but there are some guys who can move away, can move out on their own, but they choose to stay and live with their mother. You have financial ties with your mother. You depend on your mother financially. Maybe to pay your phone bill or to pay your rent or something like that. And then when you ask her for money, she would inquire you and want to know what you want the money for. And as a grown man, you should not be explaining your spending habits or anything like that. As a mama's boy, you still allow your mother to do everything for you. Your mother is packing your lunch for you. Your mother is doing your laundry. Your mother is cleaning your room. Your mother is cleaning your house. Your mother is buying groceries for you. Your mother is doing practically everything for you. Your mother show up unannounced. Your mother has the keys to your home. Your mother comes in without knocking. She just let herself in. As a mama's boy, no woman that you are in a relationship would ever be good enough. She might never think that any woman that you bring to her is good enough for you. And that is why, as a mama's boy, you hide your relationship from your mother, because you know that your mother would be in competition for attention and she would be jealous of your relationship. If you're a mama's boy, your mother is still able to guilt trip you. You can't stand up for yourself. Even when she is wrong, you still can't stand up for yourself. You have to consult her on everything, on all decisions of your life. You need approval for everything in your life. You need to know if to take this job offer. You need to know. You need approval for everything. You need to call to verify, to get approval for everything, to make every decision in your life. You need to check in with your mother. Your mother has unrealistic demands for your time and your attention. Your mother always wants you to be with her, right? And as a mama's boy, you feel responsible for your mother's happiness. Actually, both of you feel responsible for each other's happiness. You should not feel responsible for your mother's happiness as a child. That is not your responsibility. As a mama's boy, your mother snoops through your room, your phone, your emails, your text messages. She disregards your personal space. There's no boundaries. And you consider your mother to be the main priority in your life before anyone else, especially before your partner. And being a mama's boy could really affect you, especially in your romantic relationships, and you as a man, you lack identity, you lack individuality, you don't really have a true personality. What your mother says or what your mother decides, or the opinions of your mother is always have more weight. You always include your mother in your romantic relationships, and you would lose out on good women, because no woman would want to be dealing with you and your mother. This would create breakups in your life. Your mother would actually think that there is no woman good enough for her precious little boy. You grow up and you don't have skills. You need to be a provider. As a man, you need to be a provider, you need to be a protector, you need to be a leader. And if you can't take care of yourself, if you can't do your own laundry, if you can't make your own meals, if you can't clean your own home, if you can't shop for your own food, your love life would really take a hit, because women will come in your life and they will recognize, like, he can't take care of himself. How is he going to take care of me and a family? And they are out. Right? The role that your mother plays in your life could really scare women off. You are not a grown-up if you are a mama's boy. You have a bad reputation being a mama's boy. Some men may say, well, I don't care what people think about me, I don't care what people say. Like, really? You want people to be saying that you're a mama's boy on the street? That is the repetition that you want. You want to compare every woman to your mother. No woman would ever be good enough if you're comparing women with your mother in your life. Right? And that's the first one. Being a mama's boy. That is toxic and it's dysfunctional and it's very unhealthy. The second dysfunctional, toxic, unhealthy relationship between mother and son will be your mom treats you like a husband substitute. You are a substitute for your dad. We can also say it's emotional incest. It's like enmeshment. You're a husband substitute, and this could be a really heavy burden. Maybe your dad died. Maybe your parents got a divorce. Maybe your dad works long hours. Maybe there's an unhappy marriage between you and your mother, your mother and your dad. Maybe there's no emotional support for your mother. Maybe your mother is single. Maybe she's been abused or something happened where she's having you as a husband substitute. Right? You have to listen to your mother's problems. You have to assist her in taking care of the other children. This could really be a heavy burden. This could really be very stressful and very frustrating. She comes to you for attention, for emotional support, and she fails to go to her husband, your father, or any other adult friends that she should have to get attention. She treats you like a romantic partner. She'll make you guilty, she'll make you feel guilty, and she'll make you want to feel sorry for her. She's very overprotective and jealous of all your other relationships. You feel a pressure to always keep your mother happy as a husband substitute. Your life revolves around your mother as a child. You put her ahead of your partner when you grow up. She is jealous of your romantic relationships. She is competing for attention. She intrudes and tries to sabotage your relationship. She takes you on dates to discuss maybe sexual experiences with you. This is a really heavy burden. And it will affect you because you might have a love-hate relationship with your mother. You love your mother, but then you hate her because it's so much pressure. You have to listen to all her issues, all her problems. She is substituting you. And you could feel abandoned by your dad because he's allowing this behavior to continue. He probably left, he's not there. That is a lot of pressure on you. And it will be difficult for you to identify and fulfill your personal needs because you are always caring for your mother and others. So you can't really identify what you need and what you want. You could feel inadequate, you could feel unworthy of love. You're not getting the nurture and love that you need because you're there being a substitute for your dad. And this could lead to other problems. You could be addicted to food, drugs, alcohol. And you feel guilty when you want to start to attend to your own needs, attend to your own desires, work on your goals, do your own hobbies, focus on your interests. You feel guilty because you feel like you need to make your mother happy and be there for her. She has you like a husband substitute. The third toxic, dysfunctional, unhealthy mother-son relationship would be that your mother is very controlling. Your mother is a perfectionist. She has a rigid and tight structure scheduled for you, very demanding, and has high expectations for you. Immense amount of pressure, unrealistic goals that you cannot meet. She wants you to get all A's in every subject, and you might act out. You might rebel. You might get in risky behaviors. You might, because you're so frustrated and it's so much pressure, you turn to alcohol, crime, drugs. Or you could become so dependent on her to solve all your problems that you just give up trying and you just fail at everything just for spite. Your mother is very controlling. She thinks that she knows best all the time. And she performs and do many things for you. Sorry, because she thinks that you can't handle it, that she can do it better. And you never have freedom to think for yourself and do things for yourself and become independent. You can become angry, you can become resentful, you can feel powerless and like you're not good enough because you stay in your comfort zone, because you're afraid to step out because you don't want to make a mistake. And she uses harsh punishment when you fail, when you make a mistake. And this can really make you feel like abandoned and like a failure. She uses love to manipulate you, to get your loyalty, to get your affection, to bribe you into getting you to do what she wants. She invades your personal space. She wants to know who you're dating, who your friends are, know about your romantic relationships. Controlling every aspect of your life. Nitpicking and hovering over you, being a helicopter, doing helicopter parenting, I would say. Everything you do is under a microscope. And you doubt yourself. And you have no freedom to make mistakes and to discover who you are. Very controlling mother, and this can affect you. You would have low self-esteem. You would doubt yourself because she's always watching everything that you do. And if you fail, you're gonna get punished. If you make a mistake, you're gonna get harsh punishment. And you will lose confidence in yourself because you're a human and you're gonna make a mistake. And you grow up and you're indecisive. You can't make decisions for yourself because you were never allowed to make decisions. You cannot take responsibility. You are afraid. You don't believe in your ability, in your capability. It's very hard for you to own up to your actions and to stand up for yourself. Because your parents have done everything for you. You don't know how to defend yourself, stand up for yourself, take responsibility, or make any decision. You always need guidance because she's always supervising you. You would not have an identity with a controlling mother. She has no respect for your identity. You have no freedom to express your beliefs, your style, your thoughts, your emotions, your viewpoints. She imposes her personality on you. She wants you to be like her. Force you into behaving like her, not allowing you to grow up into an independent, confident man that you should be. This could really affect you because you could probably be lying to your mother just so you don't disappoint her, just so you don't get her angry, and you start lying to avoid feeling guilty, to protect yourself and to hide your emotions because you don't want to upset her. You want to make her feel happy and you want to make others feel happy because you want to do the right thing and don't make any mistakes. So you lie sometimes and then you suppress your emotions. You suppress your emotions to give priority to your mother emotions. You learn that showing your own feelings can be shameful and can be dangerous because she will be upset if you don't follow her rules and her guidelines. So you suppress how you feel. And you act in a way that makes her happy. And that will make you lack independence. You can't make a decision. Same thing. You would have also difficulty in romantic relationships. Difficulty in establishing intimacy with a woman when you grow up. It will be very difficult for you to have an authentic connection with your romantic partner. You will be unable to lead the relationship, to take responsibility and to take accountability for your actions, especially if you probably did something wrong. You really don't want to grow up to be a liar, to not be able to make decisions and not be able to lead your relationship. Or another way it could affect you, you become hostile, you are aggressive, you are angry. Why? Because your emotions have not been validated in your relationship with your mother. And that leads you to be angry and to be aggressive. And you lack control of your behavior. You lack control. You get angry. You could get angry really easily if you have a controlling mother. Fourth, toxic, dysfunctional, unhealthy mother-son relationship is if your mother is emotionally distant, an emotionally distant mother. Why your mother is emotionally distant or emotionally unavailable? Maybe because she was not prepared for motherhood. Maybe she feels really overwhelmed with these responsibilities of a mother and it's not going well. Maybe your mother is wounded herself from childhood. When you have an emotionally distant mother, she really could care less about your well-being. She do not care about your health. It's a possibility that she focuses on her own desires and on her own interests and her own social activities. She's not focusing on any family-oriented activities. She could be focusing on partying, drinking, dating, and other pleasurable activities. Yes, of course, parents need to recuperate and they need to rejuvenate themselves, but some of them take it too far and they forget about supporting you, about raising you. Some of them are two-faced. They smile with everyone, helpful on the outside, but at home they ignore you, they yell at you. Emotionally distant mothers can also not keep in contact with your school. They don't sign your form, they don't sign your slip, they don't call back the teacher, they don't check your homework, they don't attend PTA meetings, and they don't talk to other parents to get an understanding of how parents should be. They're just like missing in action. Your mother is missing in action. And it could be unintentional. Maybe she's not in a position to show up for you like that, take care of you like that. Maybe it's unintentional. That is a possibility. But some of them simply just don't care about you. They don't listen to you. They don't pay attention to you. They don't provide any validations for your feelings. When you are stressed, when you are upset, when you are frustrated, when you are angry, they don't show that they understand and that they see that you're feeling that way. They don't ask about your life. They don't ask about your interests. That is why you feel lonely and bored at home. They are not paying attention to you. They are not interested in your achievements, in your accomplishments. And that is why when you achieve something and you accomplish something, you're not even happy for yourself. And you might not want to share anything with them because you know that she probably would not be interested anyway, so you keep it to yourself. Emotionally distant mothers, they don't show affection for you, they don't hug you, they don't comfort you, they don't compliment you. They don't tell you that they love you or that they will be there for you no matter what. No compliments. They don't take time to celebrate with you, to go on holidays with you, to celebrate your birthday, or to go on a trip with you, or to go on a hike with you, or to spend time with you doing something that you like. Yes, they could be busy at work, we know and we understand, and they could have a lot on their plate. Yes, we know they work long hours, but sometimes what I'm saying is it's constant. They don't show interest in your activities, in your competitions, in your games, in your concert. Not interested in taking part in any activity with you. And this affects you. Yes. You lack confidence. You can't trust anyone. You can't create boundaries for yourself, for others. You have a difficulty seeing yourself in an accurate way. You always see your weaknesses, you always see your flaws because they're not complimenting you, they're not saying they're proud of you, they're not pointing out your talents, your capabilities, your abilities. So you just see what's wrong with you. And you grow up and you fear intimacy, you have problems connecting with other people, especially in romantic relationships. You could be distant, awkward, you don't know how to communicate. And or you could become aggressive, you're angry, you're hostile, you're acting out in social settings. And because you're a man, a male, a boy, you more than likely you're going to suffer in silence because you're not going to go be telling your feelings to anyone. You might not even seek therapy. You might go to promiscuity, criminal behavior, violence, looking to feel accepted, looking for security, looking for love in the wrong places. And you grow up and you feel like you're unlovable, that you're not worthy of love, and this leads to lack of confidence. And as a man, you need confidence to get through this life. Because your mother was emotionally distant, emotionally unavailable, it's very hard for you to bond with other adults because you are scared that people are going to abandon you. You can't trust them. You feel like they are going to do the same thing to you like your mother did. And having an emotionally distant mother, you would have a higher chance of developing anxiety, developing depression. You would struggle to make connections with other people, to create meaningful relationships. You would also have difficulty nurturing yourself, issues with self-care because your mother did not teach you how to take care of yourself. You don't know how to take care of yourself. And you grow up and you suffer from illness, from weak immune system, and also emotionally you suffer with attachment style. You probably are suffering from an insecure attachment style. Issues involving avoidance, issues with intimacy and closeness in relationships. Basically, you fear that you're gonna be abandoned again. And it will be very hard for you to actually enjoy a relationship and be happy in a relationship. There's a reduced ability to experience genuine happiness in a relationship because of an emotionally distant mother. You don't know what it's like to deal with feelings, to be close to someone, to trust someone. Obviously, you're gonna get problems, emotional problems, difficulty regulating your emotions, angry really quickly, bad temper, and also you could be just delinquent, or you become silent, unemotional, stoic, uncompassionate, cold. Many things can happen. Also, you could get poor self-esteem, and this could also make you struggle with alcohol. Maybe you could become an alcoholic. Maybe you get addicted to food. You could also have poor self-awareness. You lack responsibility and accountability for your actions. It's like you're not aware of the way you behave can affect other people, right? And another thing, you refuse to depend on others. You see yourself as an island and you try your very best to not need anyone. That could be really dysfunctional in your life. That could cause stress and anxiety and depression. Trying to not need anyone in your life. You also carry guilt and you carry shame within you because you regularly ask yourself, like, what is wrong with me? You feel different. You perceive yourself as highly flawed person. And you can't really pinpoint what is wrong with you. It is coming from your relationship with your mother because she's emotionally distant. And there's a possibility that you're wearing a mask in life. You're afraid to show who you really are. You're afraid to show your true self because you feel like if people would not accept you and they would reject you for who you are. And you also could become a people pleaser. You're pleasing everybody else but yourself. You're taking care of everybody else but yourself. The fifth unhealthy, toxic, dysfunctional mother-son relationship could be your mother physically and verbally abuse you, calling you names, belittling you, insulting you, swearing at you, scolding at you, shouting at you, screaming at you almost every day. Sometimes the only time she speaks to you is to yell at you, is to criticize you, is to reject you or threaten to abandon you, or say things like, I wish you were never born, blaming you for every problem, blaming you for every family issue. If I didn't have to take care of you, I could have had a better life. Saying stuff like that. If you wasn't so stupid and so clumsy, well, your sister probably would not get hurt like that. You hearing all of these negative comments could really make you think that you deserve to be unhappy and that you're a bad person. You actually truly think that you're a bad person hearing all these negative comments from your mother almost every day. Sometimes you witness physical abuse between your parents. Your mother and your father are fighting in front of you physically. And that makes you become delinquent and violent. And you might grow up and you abuse your spouse, you start to abuse your children. Physical abuse and verbal abuse harms your emotional and intellectual growth. Beating you, hitting you, constantly shouting at you actually would really affect your brain. It affects you tremendously. That is why you have low self-esteem, you have low self-worth. You can't trust others. You have difficulty forming relationships with anybody. And being yelled at, being criticized, being blamed, scolding at you, shouting at you, being negative towards you, making you feel bad, constantly chip away at your academics and your social skills. You would be behind in school. You would not know how to communicate with your classmates, with your teachers, you just don't know how to communicate. And you have a higher chance of developing anxiety or depression when you get older. You have a negative self-image. This is how it affects you. You could be withdrawn. You're silent, you don't talk, you don't interact. Many things can happen to you when you're getting physically abused constantly and verbally abused constantly by your mother. You could become self-destructive. You could cut yourself. You could have suicidal thoughts. You could be doing harmful things to yourself. You could also become antisocial. You could also become physically aggressive and just delinquent. You hit other kids. You frequently quarrel with other kids. You always have a problem with everybody. You and somebody always fighting in your class. You are cruel to your classmates. You are cruel to animals. You are angry a lot and violent. Being physically and verbally abused by your mother could really cause you to have a delayed development in your social skills, in your academics, and in your emotional development. It will be very hard for you to make friends. You are going to fall behind in school. You are going to fall behind because of this physical abuse and this verbal abuse that you are having constantly. You would probably be lying, stealing, skipping school, destroying things. You destroy almost everything that comes into your presence. You associate yourself with bad friends who get in the same problems with you. You have low levels of social skills. You have communication problems. You don't have any good communication skills. And your peers reject you because you are angry, you are aggressive, and you are cruel, and nobody wants to deal with that. But it is not your fault. It's really difficult for you to regulate your emotions. You get really frustrated quickly and angry really quickly. Being physically abused constantly and being verbally abused really harm your emotional and your intellectual growth. That is why you are falling behind in school, and that is why you are failing. And it will be very difficult for you to have relationships with adults. Relationships with adults will be really stressful for you and really difficult for you. You walk around and you know that you are different in some way. And you behave in ways to deliberately get you in trouble. You know and you feel that you are unwanted, and you become violent and disruptive just because you feel like that. And this is because your mother is physically abusing you and verbally abusing you and neglecting you emotionally. That is why you are so aggressive. That is why your peers reject you. And as a consequence of that, you're only friends with other deviant kids. At home, your parents cannot solve problems in an effective way, and that makes you suffer in your academics, and it's very difficult for you to relate to your classmates in a healthy way. You have a higher chance of ending up in jail because of this physical abuse, because of the violence in your family, because of the alcohol abuse that you could have, that your parents have, because of the broken marriage, because of the crime that you involve yourself in. What I'm really trying to say is just because of this physical abuse and this verbal abuse, your home is a very stressful environment, it's very violent, and there's a low tolerance for frustration at home. You lack skills in coping with different situations and different people. You are pretty much immature. You could be not very verbal, and you find it difficult to understand the cause and effect of different relationships with adults. Family arguments are really violent, and then you get yourself in gangs, you run away from home. It all stems from physical and verbal abuse, and also sexual abuse. Violence in the family, you using drugs, your mom using drugs, your father's alcoholic, you have school problems, somebody probably depressed, you probably getting depressed. It's a whole mess. And you might become an abuser when you grow up. Not all kids will become an abuser when you grow up. Right? So, being physically abused and verbally abused and sexually abused constantly affects you a lot. Right? Sixth, unhealthy, toxic, dysfunctional mother-son relationship could be mom and trophy boy. Or we could say narcissistic mother and a trophy child. Your mother demands certain behaviors from you because she just sees you as an extension of herself. You are used to represent her in the world in ways that would make her feel good about herself. It's about her emotional needs. It's not really about you. She expects you and she wants you to fulfill her dreams and her wishes and her fantasies and her desires. All those dreams she had, goals she had, fantasies and desires she had when she was younger and she didn't achieve them, she's going to use you to achieve them so she can feel good about herself. She likes when you are envied and you are admired in a certain way. And when people admire you and envy you and praise you, she feels good about herself. And you have to stifle your desires. You have to stifle your authentic self. You have to wear a mask, really, because you need to fulfill her desires. You need to follow her rules. You need to make her feel good about herself. You adopt this false self just to please your mother, just to win, so she can feel good about yourself. You devote yourself to this sport that you probably don't like. Or you devote your life to this instrument, to play this instrument that you probably don't like. or you're modeling or dancing, because she loved that. So you need to do that. And most men don't want to dance or be a model. You should be able to choose what instrument you want to play, what sport you want to engage in, but you cannot, because you are a trophy boy. You have to fulfill the desires of your mom. And when you win, you feel good, you feel praise, and she gives you special attention and affection and love when you win. And you have pressure to continue to make her feel happy. And you have to block your own interests and your own desires to make her feel happy. You never try to express your feelings of upset. You don't want to show that you're angry. You don't want to show that you disagree with her, that you're not interested in that, because you want to ensure that her needs are taken care of and you would never make her unhappy. Alright? That is being a trophy child. Your mother doesn't really recognize you for who you are. She does not know or see that you have separate feelings from her, that you have separate ideas, that you have separate desires, that you have a different interest. And when she does not recognize that, you feel unworthy. You want to fulfill your mother's desires because you want to avoid rejection, and you don't want to feel abandoned because you want the love and you want the attention. So you ignore and you hide yourself and you hide your feelings. And then you lose your identity because you're focused on what your mother wants you to do. And she brags about your accomplishments, how bright you are, the tournament you won, and your expected future and what you're going to be when you grow up. And she enjoys seeing people admire you, because she actually feels that admire for herself. It feels like it's an admiration for herself, not necessarily you. And you feel responsible for keeping you feel responsible for keeping people admiring you so she can feel good about herself, and you also want to please them so that your mother could feel happy. Your mother appears to be really occupied in your life, but it's just to create moments where she could feel gratified and she could feel good and she could have this emotional supply from your achievements. And you learn that the only way to receive love, the only way to receive attention is to fall in line and to follow the rules and give your mom what she wants. And this could really affect you. You fail to develop confidence in your own feelings. You fail to develop confidence in your own thoughts, in your own perspectives, in your own opinions. You people please, you want to please everyone. You set aside your needs and you want to please everybody else. That is how being a trophy boy affects you. When you try to establish your identity and have a separate life, she fights with you, you get an argument. Maybe you start to rebel at an early age because you realize that you cannot live up to her standards and that you are incapable of pleasing her. So you start to rebel and be angry and upset. And you grow up feeling unfulfilled and unfamiliar with who you are. You don't know who you are. You feel empty. You don't know what you like. You don't know what you're interested in. And you feel inadequate, and you doubt yourself because you was told like what you needed to do all the time. So when you try to go to do your own interests, to figure out things for yourself, you have doubts and you don't believe in yourself. If you want to pursue something, she's telling you not to do this, to do that. She wants you to do what she wants you to do. Right? So those are 6 toxic, unhealthy, dysfunctional mother-son relationships. Now, what to do? Tips, advice. What to do? Well, it depends. Everything that I'm going to say from now will depend on your age, how old you are, if you still live with them, if you don't live with them, your age, if you're in school or not, if you're working or not. It depends on wherever you are in your life. So when I talk about tips on what to do and advice, you need to just try to apply it to your own particular situation, right? So one of the things you could do is to stop allowing these behaviors from your mother. So this might be difficult if you are a child, if you are a teenager and you still live at home with them. It will be really difficult to stop allowing these behaviors, but you could try. If you are older, a mature man, you probably still live with her or not, you really need to find a way to stop allowing these behaviors to go on from your mother. You need to decide who you are as a grown man. You need to decide what your career is going to be. You need to decide the romantic partner that you want. You need to have a clear sense of your own purpose, of your own identity, and you need to have a clear sense of your own direction in life. You need to get your life together as a man. You need to actively pursue your goals and pursue your passions. You need to show decisiveness in all areas of your life to your mother. You need to make your own decisions. Your mother should not be barging in your room without knocking, having the key, coming in your house unannounced. You need private moments for yourself to recharge. You might need to take away the key. You might need to set boundaries depending on your age and your career. And if you live with them or not, you need to establish financial independence, right? You need to be independent financially. Yes, it's okay if you have some life-changing emergency and you need help, fine. But to pay your rent and like phone bill, you need to do that for yourself. And if you're in a relationship and you want to have a romantic relationship, you need to understand and know that your wife, your spouse, your partner comes first. Your mother cannot come before your wife or your romantic partner or your spouse. Your mother should not be intruding in any decisions that you need to make with your wife or your spouse or your romantic partner. Another thing, if you are capable, you need to move away from your mother. Move out of the house. You are an adult now. No woman wants to live with you and your mother. Keep your mother out of your romantic relationship. Navigate your relationship and your problems on your own privately with your partner. Right? She will always be in between you and your partner. You need to have leadership in your relationship. Another thing you can do, is recognize and accept there's a problem and there's this unhealthy situation with your mother. Sometimes, especially when you are verbally abused, you cannot recognize that it's abuse. When you are neglected emotionally, you cannot recognize. It's really subtle. You don't recognize that you're being abused. So you need to recognize and accept that there's a problem. Another thing we can do, we can forgive them because we don't want to be carrying on resentment and a burden on our shoulder. Another thing you can do is to establish boundaries. You might need to have a talk with your mother and establish boundaries to say what she can't and can't do and what you would allow and you would not allow. You might need to reduce the information you share with your mother so you can reduce the interference that she has in your life and with your romantic relationship. You need to stand up for yourself and develop your own personality. Also, you need to have positive self-talk. You need to tell yourself that you are proud of yourself, that you are doing well, that you need to keep going, that you need to never give up, that you will love yourself no matter what happens. Another thing you could do is learn to express yourself, because in some of these situations you are repressing your emotions, especially as trophy boy and husband substitutes or mama's boy. Any one of them emotionally neglected. You are repressing emotions. You are afraid to be who you are. You are afraid to show your feelings. You are afraid to tell or speak up or give your point of view. So you really need to express how you really feel about the situation. Express yourself. Maybe you feel mad, you feel hurt, you feel sad, you feel angry, you're frustrated, you're upset. You need to vent all of these emotions, because as a child it was not safe to express this, and it is going to affect you. You might need a therapist. You might need to go to a trauma specialist. You might need to go to a counselor. And if this is not possible, you might need to journal and figure out some way to get these emotions out and to resolve the problem or make the problem less hurtful. You need to also return to your hobbies, know your interests, be with your supportive friends. You also might need to have a really serious conversation with your mother, voicing how you feel, if you think that is useful. Not saying that doing all of these things that is going to be that is going to be resolved or that is going to go smooth. She can be really defensive, and you can have a lot of arguments, and it could be really it can really be frustrating and stressful. Right? Because your mother sorry, your mother has her own baggage. So even if you get pushed back, even if you get she's defensive with you, you need to work on yourself. You can walk away if you have to. You can let go of them. You do not need to take abuse. Right? You also need to discover your own needs, your own wants, your own feelings, your own emotions. What are your perspectives on this? What is your passion? What is your goals? You really need to discover who you are. You need confidence in yourself. You need to develop your own personality. Right? And especially if you're mama's boy, a husband substitute, or your mother's controlling, or your trophy boy, or whatever, you really need to learn how to make your own decisions and set your own goals as a man. Learn to be a grown-up. Learn to stand up to your mother. Learn skills of independence. You need to know how to maintain a household. You need to know how to budget. You need to know how to take care of yourself. You don't want a woman to come into your life and she realizes that you cannot take care of yourself. Learn how to self-soothe. Learn how to manage your emotions effectively, especially if you are verbally abused and physically abused. Those of you who are verbally abused and physically abused, it's okay to let your mother go. You might never get the love that you need from your mother. And you are not responsible for the relationship that you have with your mother if it's really dysfunctional. You are under no obligation to keep lining up yourself, to be abused, to be shamed, to be shouted at, to be belittled, to be humiliated in public. Sometimes They do it in public, right? So those are some tips and some advice that you could take. It really depends on your age. If you still live with them, and you're really young, you might need to talk to a trusted family member to help you sort out the situation, right? So those are the 6 unhealthy mother-son relationship. Those are some tips. I give you some effects. You need to introspect and look at yourself and see where the problem is and what type of mother you have and what are your problems. So this video was not to make you hate your mother. This video is not telling you that your mother do not love you. Your mother could love you. She probably did not intentionally neglect you. Maybe she's not in a good enough position, state of mind, has her own baggage and cannot take care of you properly. But yes, it affected you, and you are now responsible to clear all these childhood baggage that has developed. You are now responsible for making yourself better. And if you're young and you're probably still with them and it's not possible for you to go to therapy, you need to just start to be mindful. You don't want to be going to school and nobody wants to be friends with you, right? You need to learn and know how to talk to your peers and your teachers and your parents. You need to develop emotional intelligence, right? So that's all I have for this video, and see you in the next video.